Friday. Welcome to First Mover, your first global look at today's action in the Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital asset space. I'm your host, Christine Lee, and joining me are my co-hosts, CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets, Lewitinn, and Managing Director of International Content, Emily Parker. Good morning, you two.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're having a bit of a bump in the markets right now. Checking in on Bitcoin, the CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index is currently trading at 50,400 and change. Bitcoin slightly up about 0.3% over the past 24 hours. And the ETX Ether index price right now just above $4,000. ETH is inching ever up about 4.7% over the past 24 hours. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data. So looking at our top stories, Emily, Coinbase results were released after the closing bell yesterday. Coinbase is also listing Doge. Give us an update on what's going on with Coinbase.
Yes, well, it looks like the earnings were pretty much as expected. They hit the projections that they set in March, revenue of $1.8 billion. Just following the market trend, this is a really bullish market, and so it's unsurprising that Coinbase is doing quite well. But yes, I think the news that most people are focusing on from this announcement is Coinbase saying that they would list Dogecoin within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Coinbase has kind of been an outlier. They've sort of refused to list this extremely popular coin. So that's, I think, the news that people are going to be looking at. And they also indicated willingness to list other coins as well.
Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a boost in the markets today, a bit of a rebound, Lawrence. What's going on? Oh, Lawrence, you're on mute.
Yeah, 2 days in a row where that's happened.
There we go.
Yeah. So yes, we are seeing a rebound in the market, 6 to 10% in assets that are on the CoinDesk 20. All of them are up today. Not one of them down in the past 24 hours, but we have to remember we're starting off from a lower base than yesterday. We're still not back to where we were from when Tesla tweeted that they weren't going to be accepting Bitcoin anymore. And we're kind of, we've been in this range before, even before the Tesla tweet. We're in a fairly calm market, if you will, or at least a go nowhere market. So it was looking for catalyst to go somewhere. And a few more days like yesterday, and we kind of know where that could go, unfortunately, for some of the holders.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, looking at our next guest, crypto lending startup Babel Finance raising $40 million in its first funding round, led by Zoo Capital, Sequoia Capital China, Tiger Global Management, and others. As of February, the China-based startup had lent $2 billion worth of cryptocurrency to more than 500 institutional clients. Joining us now is Yulong Liu, head of global partnerships at Babel in Hong Kong. Welcome, Yulong.
Hi, everyone. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
It's an honor to have you. All right. So, Yulong, how does your crypto lending business work and who is borrowing on the platform?
So, to start with, we are Asian-based crypto finance firm. We are one of the largest in the region. Our clients come across different jurisdictions across these markets, right? And the backgrounds are also quite diverse. That includes crypto miners, right, which use crypto finance to run their daily operation, right, as part of the mining operations. And besides the miners, we also serve professional trading desks that they tend to rely on financial services to either level up or reduce their risk. Last but not least, we also serve family offices and investment firms when they come to allocate into these new asset classes. We try to help them navigate through the landscapes and try to make the best bets.
Mm-hmm. And you've raised $40 million. What do you plan to do with this funding?
Right. This is our first strategic funding. Right. We are honored to have some of the best investors globally to support us. With their blessing, I think the goal here are threefold. Number one, we are continuing to build a robust infrastructure to serve the traditional financial institutions, which a lot of their demands have been growing recently. Right. Secondly, we are looking at a talent acquisition. Right. Financial services is all about people. Right. We want to make sure we stay ahead of the curve. Right. In terms of financial innovation, and the robustness of technology. So talent acquisition is the second. Lastly, we are also seeking for global compliance as we start to intervene with the traditional financial institution a little bit more. I think a lot of times, besides product attractiveness, competitiveness, other categories they're looking at will be operational best practice in operational standards as well as compliance. So that's also a lot of times we spend those talents and the monetary resources to acquire the necessary licenses globally to pursue our business.
Good morning. Can we step back for a moment and just look at the larger mining outlook in China? How are Chinese miners doing? There has been some talk lately about mining moving away from China and towards other parts of the world. Do you see that happening? Is that indeed a trend?
So myself is a miner to start off, right? I mean, in general, mining activity is profitable, right? Given the recent surge of the prices, it has been a little bit more profitable. Right, but overall, if you look at the distribution of hash powers, right, China is still the dominant player globally, right? And then personally, that's my personal view. It doesn't represent Babel, right? I think the trend will continue in the short term for a number of reasons. Number one, the entire value chain of mining, not necessarily the investor itself, but also the manufacturer, the service provider who manage those machines, as well as repairs, right, the warrants. So those things also matter a lot, right, other than buying machine itself. So I think because the value chain stays within here in Asia, so I think the dominance of Asian being a dominant player in mining will continue for a while. But with that said, we have witnessed a strong buying power from the Western institutions, right? You can see they are piling up hash powers. I think in the long run, given how distributed Bitcoin it is by design, I think the hash power will be fairly well balanced across different jurisdictions.
But another question that doesn't even have to do only with China specifically is we're seeing an increased backlash or an increased resistance towards mining itself because of environmental concerns and energy concerns. And this, most notably, we had the announcement from Tesla just saying that Bitcoin was bad for the environment, so they no longer wanted to accept Bitcoin payments. Do you think that this trend or this increased awareness of environmental concerns will also lead the world away from proof of work mining?
Personally, I don't think so. Right. I mean, there's a lot of debates around Yulong's comments or decisions around giving up Bitcoin for that reason. Right. And then a lot of people start to talk about, I mean, it's perfectly fine to use electronic cars, but it's not fine to use electricity for mining. So in our view, at least a lot of the activities happens here in China. We use sort of hydropowers, which are clean energy, number one. Number two, a lot of this electricity used by mining are supposed to be wasted, right, if they were not used for mining, because that happens during summertime. So, I mean, there's a lot of research on this, but my conclusion is it's not that environment unfriendly to use electricity for mining. On a lot of cases, on the contrary, Bitcoin could be considered as one of the reserves to store this electricity, right? By the meaning of having Bitcoin, you can use that Bitcoin in the future to invest into clean energy, right? So I think that's my take, personal take. So.
Good morning. When it comes to Asia, is there more enthusiasm right now for meme coins and altcoins than there is for Bitcoin? And if so, what does it mean for your business?
I think that in short answer, yes, right. There's a global enthusiasm with these animal coins. But to our business, we are serving primarily institutions. I think the institutional interest resides on Bitcoin, right? Maybe not even touch Ethereum. A lot of people view Ethereum as altcoin as well from the institutional side. So I think the market are very fragmented in a way. But the way business, the markets that Babel Finance has been targeting at is always institutions. And that hasn't changed. So people have talked about, have joked around about those animal coins, but nobody take it seriously for now, at least from the institutional side.
Are you planning on going public anytime soon?
That's certainly every startup's goal, right? We want to be a financial institution. Being public will give us some credibilities, right, to enable us to grow further. But that's not the ultimate goal, right? Our goal is to build a robust financial infrastructure to serve more and more institutions. So if that's the path we have to pursue, that's something we are working towards with as well.
All right, Yulong, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the Asian market. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm really glad to be here again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, that was Babel Head of Global Partnerships, Yulong Liu. Coming up, tapping into Asia and tips on how to save with cryptocurrencies.
We are witnessing the greatest paradigm shift in finance in modern history. Join thousands of newsmakers and influencers talking the future of money in a live virtual experience. Consensus by CoinDesk. Register today.
Time now for the daily forecast, an update on what's happening in the Asia crypto markets. Here's Angie Lau of Forecast News.
Welcome to the Daily Forecast, May 14th, 2021. I'm Angie Lau. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, under fire. According to new reports, the U.S. Department of Justice and Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, have opened a money laundering investigation into Binance. Now, in a statement on Twitter, Binance says, quote, "We take our legal obligations very seriously and engage with regulators and law enforcement in a collaborative fashion." The company's CEO, Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, also chimed in saying the news title is bad. The article itself isn't so bad, actually, but who reads it? Describes how Binance collaborated with law enforcement agencies to fight bad players, but somehow made it look like a bad thing. He adds, anyways, back to work.
I think a lot of us got into this industry because we actually think we can use blockchain-based assets to revolutionize the way finance is done. And if that's really what we are claiming, we need to start thinking about investors first, not necessarily our own pocketbooks.
But does this fuel public perception against the industry? I sat down with ex-CFTC head Chris Giancarlo today for an upcoming Word on the Block episode discussing the digital dollar project which he leads. I asked him how the Justice Department and IRS investigation into anti-money laundering issues at Binance impacts the bigger picture of crypto adoption.
The future of money, in my view, is very much digital and networked. And so, I don't think one headline should distract us from the overall goal of modernizing money, whether that be non-sovereign or sovereign.
Meanwhile, here in Asia, new developments in the CBDC space. Naver, Korea's leading internet company, plans to join Bank of Korea's CBDC simulation. Naver will enter the project with its instant messaging and lifestyle app Line Plus and Naver Financial, which owns Naver Pay, the dominant player in the local smart payment market. Approximately 40.3% of smart payment users in Korea are using Naver Pay. Will we see a digital yuan in the near future? Well, the Bank of Korea has stated there are no plans, but the industry remains hopeful as the central bank is open to discussions. Bitcoin continuing to tumble today, down 1.8%, and in the top 10 for cryptocurrencies, some coins have started to recover from yesterday's bloodbath. Dogecoin up 25% after another shout out from Elon Musk. And finally this, Singapore-based DBS Bank, Southeast Asia's largest lender, is launching a crypto trust solution for its private bank clients. Now, this builds on the DBS digital exchange launched last December that allows the bank's institutional and accredited investors to invest in Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and XRP.
More and more clients are saying that we do intend to increase our share of our assets in cryptocurrencies, and we see it increasing over time.
Now, it's one of the first traditional bank-backed crypto products we're seeing here in Asia, and others in the industry say it's another big step towards crypto greater adoption.
For the overall credibility of the space is a very good piece of news. And it's very important that such a reputable and large financial institution, one of the most advanced and reputable jurisdictions globally, is actually entering the market with a clear stance and a clear offering.
There's no doubt Asia is in play. High net wealth investors in Asia are already looking at succession planning of their digital assets. Onboarding with traditional banks like DBS makes crypto adoption that much easier. And that's the Daily Forecast. I'm Angie Lau. Until next time.
The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
Time for a live look at Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is currently trading at 50,343. Bitcoin is slightly up over the past 24 hours, advancing 0.6%, and the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is currently trading at 39.89. ETH is also climbing up 4.7% over the past 24 hours. And joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Noble Gold Investments President and CEO Collin Plume. Welcome, Collin.
Thanks, Christine. Thanks for having me. Emily, Lawrence, pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining us. All right, so this is an exclusive to CoinDesk. You're launching mydigitalmoney.com. If you're holding onto digital money and trying to figure out what to do with it now, an option is that you can put it into a crypto IRA for retirement. So how does this work, Collin?
Yeah, so we've with Noble Gold, we've been in the IRA space for precious metals for 6 years, and I've been in the alternative asset space for about 12 years. And what I found is that a lot of investors were coming to us that wanted to buy crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum directly and put it in their IRA. And I think the timing of our release is really great right now because, number one, you have President Biden's potential tax plan, which would increase capital gains from 20% to 39.6%. And I think that could have some effect of what's been happening with Bitcoin. I don't think everything happens in a vacuum. So with My Digital Money, if you have money in an IRA or an old 401k, you could buy Bitcoin. It could go up, where people think it's going to go to 100 or 2 or 300,000. You could sell it within the IRA, and then all of those gains are tax deferred till later when you retire. So I think right now the timing of what we're releasing is really important because a lot of people are sort of struggling with those questions of, do I sell my Bitcoin and pay that big capital gains, or do I wait to see what's going to happen with this tax plan? So it's an interesting time to release this product.
Morning, Collin. With regards to regulatory issues, how were you able to get through with a crypto IRA? How is it structured, and what kind of products are you exactly offering? Is it direct purchase of the crypto, or is it assets that relate to it, such as stocks?
Yeah, no, there's no stocks. It's a self-directed IRA. Our partner on this, and the other reason we wanted to do this, our partner on this is Equity Trust. And they're a self-directed custodian that's been in business since 1977. They have $30 billion in assets in the alternative asset space, like real estate and precious metals and, first loans and things of that nature. So we got together and created this platform that allows people to buy direct Bitcoin, Ethereum. We have a smaller base of cryptos right now. We wanted to start with the larger cryptocurrencies before we expand. And everything is IRS compliant. We handle all the tax reporting for clients, which is great. And everything is sheltered in that IRA vehicle, which obviously all the gains are tax deferred till retirement. So everything is done through our system. We hold all the cryptocurrency for the client to make sure that it's in a safe place. And everything is approved by the IRS.
In terms of fees, what are you guys charging, and how does it compare to the rest of the market?
Yeah, in terms of fees, we're very competitive. Fees are going to range between 1% and 3%, and then there's some custodial fees to hold it in the IRA for the reporting and the storage. And that's just going to be $29 a month to do that. And that includes everything that you need to hold this in an IRA. So our fees are very competitive. They'll continue to go down over time as we build out our system and get more channels. We'll get more and more inexpensive for clients. But the platform is, the way I set it up and built it with my team is to set up that anybody can buy. I think there's definitely a barrier to entry for a lot of folks out there who call us and say, I don't want to put an app on my phone. I don't feel comfortable with a lot of the things that some of these exchanges want you to do. So our system is made for regular people, laymen. It's very user friendly. We have trigger accounts, so you can, let's say, for instance, you wanted to buy Bitcoin at 45,000 and then you wanted to sell it at 70,000. You can do that all within our system. So I really wanted to set it up for the everyday trader, the swing trader, but just really make it easy for people to use. If you lose your password, you can call us. We have people on the phone. A lot of people called me and said, hey, I've bought Bitcoin in this exchange and I lost my password. This was sort of the impetus for me to start this business, is I wanted a customer service aspect to crypto that I think a lot of companies weren't offering.
Who is the demographic that you are targeting? Is this a Gen Z thing? Is this a older thing? I mean, is it kind of all over the place? I'm just curious, like, what age range is most interested in a crypto IRA?
Great question. Thank you. I think in terms of, an IRA is a lot of our clients typically are between 35 and older, but I think the younger generation is sort of missing out on thinking about their IRA, because everybody that's 20 to 30 that started at a job usually had a 401k there. That 401k, if they left that job, there's money in there and they can roll that into an IRA. So even though our typical clients have been 35 and older, we really want to appeal to a younger person, because my career, I've been trying to get out to talk to younger people about starting really an IRA investment in their 20s, because that's really how you can, even with a small investment of $2,000 to $4,000 a year, if you start at 20 years old, that could be $1.5 million, almost $2 million when you retire, because of all that compound growth. So I do want younger people to start, but a lot of times people in their 20s and 30s just they're not together on their IRAs. They don't see the benefit. They think, oh, I worked at Starbucks, I have $8,000 there, it's not a lot of money, but it is actually a lot of money if you start at the right time. So we do want younger people to do it, but we set up the system for an older demographic to make it as easy and user-friendly as possible. So, because a lot of our clients in the precious metal space just said they couldn't understand setting up with Coinbase or some of the other ones, so they wanted it really user-friendly. So I set it up so that anyone can use it, and it's easy to use.
Collin, taking a look at the markets, we saw Bitcoin take a dip over the past couple of days. It's starting to perk up. Is this a good time to buy Bitcoin?
I think it is. I mean, I think that the $50,000 psychological number is similar to last year, early last year, when it was, 10. I always felt like 10,000 was sort of a psychological number. The reason that people should get into Bitcoin right now is very simple. That the institutions, all these ETFs that are created, will have to have Bitcoin, because all the altcoins, for the most part, are very volatile. And I think that Bitcoin is the one that is more universally accepted in the world. So all of these funds that are being created right now will have some Bitcoin in it. And so if you have the institutional buyers buying it, then you want to have some of that in your portfolio. I also think Ethereum, and I'm surprised it took so long for Ethereum to rise. I mean, it's basically been the database for other cryptos this whole time. So I was surprised it took so long for the price to go up, but I think the speculation about it is gone, and people realize that it's one of the strongest players out there. So I like Ethereum at the price it's at also.
All right, Collin, thanks for your insights, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too. All right, that was Noble Gold Investments President and CEO Collin Plume. Coming up, the first horse race to get NFT'd, and checking in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day. Welcome back. Time to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk, the State of Crypto newsletter. Hey there, Nick. So looking at Binance, they're being investigated by the IRS and Department of Justice, according to Bloomberg. CEO CZ is saying that the headlines sound more dramatic than the actual story is, that the exchange is cooperating with the investigation, with investigators on bad actors. But what's the story here?
Yeah, so I think CZ does have a point there in that my understanding is, there's no allegations of wrongdoing right now. This is similar to what we saw or what we heard earlier this year, what I believe it was a CFTC investigation into Binance. So, just because these agencies are investigating, if they're not alleging wrongdoing, then, there might be nothing there. It could just be a pro forma kind of thing. It could just be checking their boxes, or, maybe later on they're going to bring charges. But sometimes these investigations do happen without necessarily the bringing of, either criminal or even civil charges.
Are they investigating Binance.com or Binance US or both?
I think it's a little unclear. My guess is, if they are investigating the company, they're probably looking at Binance itself and whether or not it had business in the US either before Binance US rolled out or, separately from Binance US after it rolled out. The fact that, it's the DOJ and the IRS, does suggest that they're claiming that there was business done without necessarily taxes being filed or, income reported.
Nick, did you find anything particularly interesting about the Coinbase earnings report, or just kind of as expected?
I think the big question I have is, how does it take 6 weeks to list Dogecoin? It's been out there for a while. It's it's a fork of a fork of a fork of Litecoin. So that seems to be my big question is, is there a regulatory component here? Is there like a compliance thing, or is it just a technical issue?
Well, who knows? Back-end issue. Thank you, Nick, for the update. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, and you.
All right, that was CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Policy and Regulation, Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com.
The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
The Preakness is going digital, becoming the first horse race to auction off one-of-a-kind non-fungible tokens featuring this weekend's race, as well as historic clips of past Triple Crown winners and unique in-person experiences. Joining us now is Medium Rare co-founder Adam Richman. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning. All right, so maybe you can explain to us what's on the auction block here. I see the top bid is $50,000 right now for the Woodlawn Vase NFT and a physical trophy. What do you have here?
Yeah, look, we were really excited to partner with the Preakness and bring their historic legacy to life. So 146 years of the Preakness, and they reached out to us and saying, look, we want to do an NFT. We're seeing this space exploding. What can we do? And we really looked into their archives and looked at the last 146 years of amazing footage that they own, and actually went through and picked 15 of their most historic races of all time. So Triple Crown winners, some really memorable wins, and actually took the video clips of those races with the audio and everything and turned those into NFTs. So that was really neat. The item that you have there on the screen, that NFT, is the Woodlawn Vase trophy. The Woodlawn Vase is actually the most expensive trophy in American sports. It's worth about $4.5 million. Was designed by Tiffany in the 1860s. And part of the NFT, we're actually giving the physical replica trophy which has historically only been given to the winning jockey, the trainer, and the owner of the horse. So really, really incredible opportunity for the buyer of that NFT. As you mentioned, it's already up to $50,000 US. So really exciting to see the interest this far. And the main auction ends on Sunday, and the specialty items end on Monday.
Well,
just to clarify, if you're giving away the physical item, why do you also need an NFT?
Yeah, so we really look at the NFT as a really unique, almost certificate of authenticity, right? This is a great way to show that your physical replica trophy is legitimate and it's real, and you have the NFT that ties back to it. The NFT itself is beautifully designed. I think it would go for quite a bit of money without the physical item, and the physical item is almost the cherry on top.
What's the physical made out of? Is it just
I think it's
like
105 ounces of silver.
Okay.
And it's a really, the actual cost on it, it's about $40,000 US just with the craftsmanship and the cost of silver. But you can't walk in a store and buy it. It's really a priceless item. It's never been sold before. It's never been offered to the public. So to be able to attach that to an NFT, it's really unique.
So who gets what with this NFT? How do you split it up between you and Preakness? And do the owners get anything, for instance, or was it a license deal? Is it a split revenue? How do you guys have it set up?
Yeah, so it's really a partnership between Medium Rare and the Preakness. Medium Rare, my company, we specialize in partnering with different IPs, celebrities, and brands. So we're responsible for two of the biggest sports drops to date. So the Rob Gronkowski one, and the Golden State Warriors, which just took place a couple weeks ago. We're being very select on what IP and brands we're partnering with and helping bring them into the NFT space. My company, we really handle everything from them for A to Z. And then it's a profit split with the IP holder, with a majority going to the IP holder.
What was the difference between dealing with Gronk and what was the difference between dealing with Gronk and dealing with Preakness?
Yeah, look, dealing with Gronk's one of our clients that we've worked with for years. You call him directly, and, as you can imagine, that's a lot of fun. Dealing with gigantic multi-billion-dollar organizations like the Golden State Warriors or now the Preakness is a little bit more corporate in a good way. And I think they're trying to figure out this crypto stuff in a very unique manner, and they want to see it done in the way that they're used to doing business. And what I mean by that is they want US dollar. They're not interested in taking Ethereum today, or another coin for that matter. They want settlement reports, and Gronk was a whole lot of fun. He actually kept his Ethereum. We paid his wallet. Dealing with the Golden State Warriors and the Preakness, it's just a tad different, needless to say.
This seems to be part of a larger trend now of making NFTs of historical events or just of events in the past. What is the thinking behind that? What is the value of something like that?
Yeah, so, in all the NFTs that we've personally worked on, we're looking at things that are going to contain collector value for some time, right? We're not looking at sort of a flash in the pan and let's just put out a 3D animation of this celebrity, or let's just put a picture out, or something without real significance. Everything we're doing, we're actually really tying back to trends we see in the physical memorabilia world. That's obviously been a good data point and something that's been successful for quite some time. So to be able to look at that and pair our offerings to what's worked there has been sort of our approach. And obviously, things of historical significance and historical value, they usually contain value and continue to grow and rise in value as the years go on. And that's really our approach. And we've seen that firsthand with Gronk, right? The Gronk NFT, very successful in the primary sale, but the buyers that wanted to put it on the secondary market have done extremely well, and their values actually increased in the months since it came out.
Yeah, super fascinating. Adam, thank you for joining us on the show, and good luck on the auctions this weekend.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yep. That was Medium Rare co-founder Adam Richman. All right, that's it for our first mover. Thank you, Emily Parker, our CoinDesk Managing Director of International Content, and Lawrence Lewitinn, Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets. I'm your host, Christine Lee. I'll be back live at 3 p.m. with all about Bitcoin. Coming up at noon is The Hash. You're watching CoinDesk TV.